A woman in her late 30s had built a life that, on paper, looked stable and successful. She worked as a project manager at a mid-sized firm in the city, had a neat apartment, a dependable car, and a small circle of good friends. Her days were filled with meetings, spreadsheets, and timelines. Though she was respected in her workplace, her heart never quite felt connected to the work. The weeks often blurred together, and despite her best efforts to feel content, she sensed something was missing, though she couldn't immediately name it. One rainy Sunday afternoon, while cleaning out her garage, she came across a box she hadn't opened in years. Inside was an old sketchbook from her college days, back when she used to draw constantly on napkins, notebooks, even the backs of receipts. She'd once dreamed of being an illustrator, maybe even working in publishing or animation. But those dreams had quietly slipped away when bills and responsibilities took center stage. She sat down with the sketchbook on her lap, flipping through page after page. The drawings were imperfect, but full of energy and curiosity. Each one stirred something in her, a quiet, persistent whisper she hadn't heard in a long time. That night, instead of scrolling through her phone like she usually did, she took out a pencil and started sketching at her kitchen table. It felt awkward at first, like trying to remember a language she hadn't spoken in years, but soon the lines flowed more easily. She lost track of time, encouraged by that small spark. She bought herself a new set of pencils and a fresh sketch pad. Drawing became her evening ritual. At first, it was just for herself, simple portraits, scenes from her neighborhood, playful interpretations of her daily life. After a few weeks, she hesitantly began sharing some of her work on a quiet Instagram account under a pseudonym. She didn't expect much, but slowly, strangers began liking and commenting. Some messaged her to say a sketch had made them smile. One day, a local cafe owner reached out, saying they loved her drawings and wondered if she'd be interested in displaying a few. She nearly said no, afraid it would feel too vulnerable, too real. But she took a deep breath and agreed. Her friends came to the opening night at the cafe. They were shocked not because she was talented. They always suspected she was, but because she'd kept this part of herself so hidden for so long. That small display led to a spot at a weekend art fair, then to an online shop where she began selling prints and postcards. A children's author reached out about collaborating on a book. She started hosting casual weekend sketch classes for kids at the community center. Step by step, her art moved from the margins of her life to the center. She adjusted her work schedule, eventually shifting to part-time. The reduction in salary scared her, but the gain in joy was immeasurable. She didn't become famous. She wasn't booked months in advance or earning millions. But she no longer dreaded Mondays. She no longer felt like she was living someone else's life. Each morning, she woke up with purpose. Not every day was easy. There were still frustrations, bills, and deadlines, but now there was also color and meaning. Years later, she would describe that rainy afternoon with the old sketchbook as a turning point, not because it changed everything all at once, but because it reminded her of who she'd been before the world told her to be practical, and remembering that was enough to begin again, this time on her own terms.